Okay, one small task to finish off the code changes that we're making in this final section before we go and publish our application, and it's just to take a look at the member message component. Lisa's been messaging Bob, and every time she sends a new message, then we keep going further and further down the page. And what we'll take a look at is how we can resolve that. So we give them a container for the messages, and we stick them to the bottom of the message container as well, so that and what we can do to achieve that, let's just close down these other open windows, and we're going to open up the member messages component HTML. And it's pretty busy inside here already, but what we'll do, I'm just going to work on the unordered list here. So I'm going to bring a few things down, and the class. And what we're going to do with the unordered list is we're going to get Angular to control the scrolling of this. And the way that we achieve that is we'll add a template reference variable and just call it scroll me. And then what we'll do is we'll give it some style, and we'll set its style to overflow and scroll. And we're going to set a height property of 500 pixels. And then below this, what we can use is scroll top attribute, and we can set this equal to scroll me and the scroll height. And what this is going to achieve is that if we go back and take a look, then we can see now that our messages are contained inside a scrolling window. And if I'll need to be at the bottom of the messages to do this anyway. But then if I say hello, then we can see the messages are popping in and we're sticking to the bottom of the page. But there's a problem with this actually. If we go and inspect the console here, then we're going to see some errors. And we get this expression changed after it has been checked error, previous value, blah, 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 current value, etc. So the way to get this to work is to go back to our component, and in our member messages component itself, what we can do is add an extra property to our component, and we need to set the change detection strategy and override its default. And its default is to check always, but what we're going to use is the on push strategy, and this resolves that particular problem. So I'm going to say change detection, and then we specify the change detection strategy, and we're going to set this to on push. And this resolves the issue with doing what we're doing here with setting that scrolling property. So if I refresh this page again, then what we should find is that when we're at the bottom, and we do need to scroll to the bottom, and we say test, then all of our messages are going to be contained inside this scrolling window, and we can scroll up to see the previous messages. But when we're at the bottom of the message container, then all of the messages are going to pop in. And if I take a look at Bob's profile on the other window and say hello, then it pops in on his side. And if I go back to Lisa's, then it's maintained its position on the page here as well. So nice and easy one to finish off to tidy that up. So this is the functionality now complete in our application. And coming up after this section is a bit of a challenge. It's optional, but it is a challenge for you to get your teeth into. But first of all, let's go back to VS Code, and let's go ahead and save our changes into GitHub. Not that big a section, but still plenty of changes made inside here. And what we'll do, we'll say end of section 18, and we'll stage these changes, and then we'll go and commit them, and then we'll go and push them on up to GitHub. And we'll wrap this up with a summary.